So in the previous segment, we took a look at the design of this 1702 board. And I'm going to go ahead and do some initial soldering on it. So I have plugged the blank board into the machine and powered up to make sure the machine booted. And that just made sure there was no design layout issues where I had shorted address pins together or data pins or something accidentally. Machine came up and ran just fine. So at least the board from that standpoint is fine. I actually got my hands on some 7809s. But I'm going to start with the power supply circuit, so voltage regulators. And then I will put the board in and check the power rails and just make sure we have power. And then after that, I will begin to put in sockets and stuff the rest of the board. So that is a 7805. Just going to go right here. Again, build it up, a piece at a time. This is my first time. Boy, that soldering pencil smells like plastic still. I know I touched some plastic with it accidentally. And really smelled it up. Definitely some things I know I want to do different on the board. I used pads here meant for IC pins to go through, not sockets, so I want to make those larger, but that's going to affect the layout. So I'm going to have to deal with that. That gets the 7805 in. We have a 7909, and the interesting thing about this 7909, just let me compare it, is the length of the shoulder seems a little bit longer than I'm used to. And if I bend where the knee is, it looked like the pins end up a little bit too long, so I'm actually bending in the thicker part of the knee here, or the leg, a little bit. Just hopefully the screw hole will line up a little bit better. I'm not really happy with how that turned out. Square that lead up a bit. Okay, that went in okay and lines up okay. The power supply rails on this card were routed by hand. The bus between all the 1702s was routed by hand. Then I let the auto router do the rest of the work. So whether that was the wisest thing, I don't know, but that's what I did. I'm still debating whether I'd actually want to use this card or the wire wrapped card, just because the wire wrapped card is much more age appropriate and looks much nicer. I've got a couple of larger bolt caps here. We'll see what set of holes they fit best. And that's a good set of holes. Boy, those almost seem upside down. Oh, the negative would go down. This is a negative regulator, and I can see where the traces go off to pick up the negative power rail on the board. Well, hopefully I've got that design right. Well, this is why we're going to do a piece at a time. So I was starting to say there are definitely things on the board I will change when I get to a final revision, just because I'm not happy with how they turned out. But you live and learn. So let's make sure that cap's nice and flush. Get this one in nice and flush. more little electrolytics. Again, these are just random electrolytics out of my junk box. Who knows where I got them. Doesn't fit super well. They obviously came off of cut tape. Get them in the right orientation. Get them somewhat square. Now that little bridge there doesn't matter. Those pads are hooked together. I kind of like these footprints that'll take different sizes of capacitors. Makes picking random stuff out of your junk box easier. I need some disc caps. Probably should have started with these. Well, the footprint I picked for those works well. I almost knocked them loose. Yeah, these would have been easier without the electrolytics in the way. Come on. And I should really put on glasses for soldering. Or glasses I can see better for soldering. I always wear glasses when I'm soldering or trimming leads or whatever, just because it's really easy to flick a solder ball up into your eye or have a lead go flying when you trim it. Well, that's enough to go power the board up and check voltages. Not unhappy with that. So I will go do that next and I'll report back. So I think I've got all the logic we need. I found another 7442 in my collection of old TTL. This is a date code of 38th week of 79. So it's definitely age appropriate to that era. And immediately a pin bend up. So I bet my, in fact I know the lifting tool is downstairs. There should be a second one floating around here and I'm not seeing it. Sucks to immediately bend a pin. No surprise. At least it's not bent too horribly. this time I'll have a little better luck getting it into the socket. And of course, the same pin. What the heck? Why is that pin being so stubborn? Socket looks okay. Great. The rarish, hard to find part. It's going to be the one to give me the most trouble. Looks like it went in okay. 74367s or 1895s. It's too bad the pin straightening tool is downstairs. The video is already running, so I'll just do it the old-fashioned way, bend the leads in by hand. Before last 367. That one's got pretty beat up leads on it. I believe the ones I'm pulling out here are not necessarily new old stock, but they are new. I don't see a date code on them. $74.30. That's got a date code from 1982. Hopefully it's still a good part. 7474 used for the weight state generator. 21st week of 77. Might be wiser to actually be using new parts. And a 74 LS04. That's a newer one. Going to mount the active indicator LED. I don't like the position that LED ended up in. I'm going to move it in the final design. Let me grab a resistor and an LED. That'll take just a second here. And we'll get those soldered up. The next step will be get down on the board or the system. See if I can find the resistors I want. LEDs, LEDs. And we'll give the thing a test. Happy with that footprint. Need a 330 ohm resistor, should be here in the back. That's 33 ohm. There's 330s in the front. That's 33. Is that just in the wrong place? Yeah, lots of them seem to be in the wrong bin. We'll just pull one of these. I was afraid that resistor footprint was going to be a bit small, and it is. Not particularly happy with that. Nope, not particularly happy with that footprint. Missed a cap right here somehow. Quick look over, pin 1s are all in the right orientation. Looking for bent pins. That's the 7442 that gave me trouble. Quick look over the solder joints. There's one I want to touch up. Make sure they're all soldered. Now, part of me is hopeful this will work. If I, oh boy, that LED did not go in well. Huh. How did I pull that off? Well, I really thought I felt it drop in nice and flush. Hopefully I haven't damaged it with that much dwell time. Anyhow, I guess the next step is drop this in the computer, address something in the F000 to F7 FFF space, and if that LED comes on, the decoding's at least trying to work. So that's what we'll do next.